Tasmania in Australia, where I've got to say it's a bit chilly today. Winter has arrived here, and wherever you are, I hope you're comfortable at least. That's the main thing. Let's crack on and see what I'm looking at for the week ahead. Of course, on Sundays, it's very much a routine thing for me. I don't have to do too much out of the ordinary, except, a couple of things that vary, but not too many. I'll share with you exactly what that process is. And let's start with what I call game changers. On the weekly chart, and the weekly chart is really giving me a directional bias for the week ahead. Not really giving me trades, though it can. It's entirely possible. And I'll go through that in a little bit as well. And at the end, if I've got time, I will give you a full explanation as to what a game changer bar is. And I know I've done this before, but people still seem to be a little bit confused by what I'm looking for with the game changer bar. It's not necessarily an entry, but it can be. But it does give me a directional bias for the week ahead. So let's start with that. Now, Aussie CAD is telling me that I should be looking to buy here. Why? Because I've got a game changer bar. It's a perfect doji, really. As you can see, it closed on its open, but it's also telling me that the low is lower than the previous week, and it closed nearer its high than it did to its low. Now, that's not the exact criteria for a game changer bar, which I'll share to you very, very shortly at the end, as I said. But it's something that I need to take notice of. Once I've seen that candle or bar, I then have to look at context. Now, the context is really simple. It's twofold. It's really what is the main theme of this chart. Now, the main theme is what I call the big boss. And the big boss can be the trend. It can be a chart pattern. It can be probably a combination of both. But in this instance, I'm thinking, where are we really headed here? What's the boss? What's the governing factor here? Let's open up the Aussie CAD chart. Are we trending short? I would have thought so. Have we got a massive reversal pattern that tells us that this currency pair is about to reverse? I don't see that, frankly. So therefore, I have to go back to my main theme, which is, okay, I've got a double top up here that seems to be guiding things, and we're in a downtrend since. Okay, we're not back to that trade line or trend line, if you like, but things seem to be going in a southerly direction more than they're not. So let's put it that way. Therefore, when I look at the weekly chart and it tells me to buy, I'm thinking, really? Do I really want to buy here? Answer no. So guess what? Spend no more time. Move on. Aussie yen. Aussie yen on the weekly chart is suggesting to me, again, we've got a low lower than the previous week, and we've got a candle who's closed on or near its high. That's very close to one or near its high. Next step, go back and say, well, okay, what's the big boss telling me here? Have I got a big boss? Well, let's point it out. Aussie yen. We'll just go to Aussie yen, drag that across, and looks to be in a massive uptrend on the weekly, right? Can't argue. We've got a big inverted head and shoulders here, and to my mind, that is driving the market. That is the most prominent thing I can see on this chart. Apart from recently, what I call the three amigos, which is false break, false break, false break of this level here, of this range here, sorry. And now we've gone back underneath it, retested it, back underneath it again, retested again. It's difficult to get above this. Yet I'm given a weekly game changer bar that's telling me to buy. I'm on board with the direction. Makes sense to me. What also makes sense to me is that the yen's been just ridiculously weak for such a long, long time. And do we need to consider that? Well, of course we need to consider it. And is the yen capable of reversing? Question mark. Can't answer that. Really can't. But the game changer bar here is telling me to buy. I'm at a resistance level. So I'm going to put that down as a perhaps up for the week. Direction, I get it. So I'll be looking forward to that, giving me an opportunity to buy it on maybe, I don't know, a candle pattern, a false break of support, a break and retest of resistance that we're at the moment. But that's giving me the direction. I agree with it. So we've got a double bottom sitting here, followed by, I'd like to see a retracement first. So, okay, that's a possibility. We'll put that on the watch list. Not too hard. That's Aussie yen. Move to the next one, which is Aussie versus the dollar. Aussie versus the dollar is same, telling me to go long here. Now, I'd much prefer to go long at a support level than I would at the resistance level, obviously. So with this one is of interest to me. And the reason it's of interest to me is not so much because the big boss is telling me to go long, because the big boss isn't telling me to go long. The massive downtrend here, and has been for quite some time. Do I have a reversal pattern? Arguable. The body of this one's engulfing that, I suppose. Then we came up to resistance. Now we've come back and put in a series of lower highs and lows, suggesting we're in a downtrend. Yet we've now put in a potential higher low and higher high. So should we be on attention? Answer, yes, we should. Range break, that's the most important thing to me here. The range break, broken to the downside. We've now retested that breakout level. Or have we done better than that? Have we come back inside that range? There's my answer to that. That support level there is telling me that we have come back inside that range. And let me put that as a prospect because it makes sense to me. It's actually a channel, which is a market structure to me. And when I look at market structures, I'm looking to trade them from top to bottom, bottom to top, top to bottom, and then we get a breakout. And that was my question. Is that breakout real or is it false? Now, at the moment, it's giving me every indication that breakout is false. But to trade that, I need to see a retest of, yes, the breakout level, but certainly the break back in level, if you like. So I need to see tomorrow's bar retest that level. Directional bias is being given to me by the game changer bar, but now I need to see confirmation of that by price being unwilling to go back beyond that level. If it did, then we're probably back to trend. But if it doesn't, then my suggestion would be that the game changer bar is correct, the directional bias is correct, and we can trade that back up to there. So that, again, is on my watch list. Pound Aussie, Aussie yen and Aussie dollar, both on my watch list. Let's go to the next one. How did I get there? That's where I should be. Sorry about that. Next one on the weekly chart is down here, Euro versus the Kiwi. Euro versus the Kiwi is telling me to go short because we've got a high higher than the previous bar, and we've got a candle that's closed. Sorry, I'm mixing up bars and candles. I do that all the time. We've got a candle or bar that's closed on or near its low. Therefore, the directional bias here is to go short. Can I do that? Have I got the right to do that? So we look at the big boss. Have we got a big boss? I'll have to get rid of this Euro Kiwi. Let's put a Euro Kiwi chart up. There we go. Okay, weekly chart telling us to go short. Big boss. What is the big boss? The big boss is, wow, right up here maybe. So we've been in a downtrend ever since. We've rejected this level very, very vigorously. but are we turning? Have I got a reversal pattern here? It's loose. You could argue that there is one, but the thing that I see mostly on this chart is that level right there. Resistance, 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 resistance. Bit of support through here, and a lot of support through here as well. So my question would be, can this break through that level, or is it at a strong enough resistance level that we can trade it in the opposite direction? The answer is maybe. I don't have a reason to think that this rejection here and this potential lower high here can't force the market back down here, because remember, we are, to my mind, in a downtrend and we're at a resistance level. So that makes sense to me. Game changer bar is only very, very small, but I reckon that's okay. We've had a small one here that worked. Maybe we have another small one here that works. I'm okay with this. To trade it, I would need in the morning to see price open relatively close to where it's closed on Friday, which of course is round about there. So I'm all on board with this one. That's definitely on my watch list as well. Euro versus the Kiwi, and I'm looking to short that. Don't want gaps in the market in the morning. Next one, and there are only a few more left, and then I'll get into the explanation of it all. Pound Aussie's one. Pound Aussie, very, very decisive bar on the monthly with 2 days gone, or 2 days of trading, I think. But there's the big rejection and the big game changer bar again. Higher high than the previous, closed on near its low. Got an issue with this one in its proximity to this strong level, which is the monthly pivot. Let's have a look at the big boss, however. And the big boss is where? I can't tell from that chart. Let's make a new one. Pound versus the Aussie. I don't think I've got one. No, I don't. Pound Aussie. Bring it on. There's your game changer bar, right? Telling us to go short. Big boss. You'd have to say it's down, right? You'd have to say that this toppy area here has been followed by lower highs, lower lows. Then it's tried to turn around. Is it successful? I don't know that that's the case, frankly. I think I'd rather be trading short than long. And if I add a couple of things here, that might even give us a bit of a hint. Maybe that one. Maybe that one. Telling me that we are at resistance at the moment. There's a horizontal level there as well. Resistance, resistance. Bit of support, resistance here as well. So is that game changer bar potentially going to work? Well, I think it's very, very similar to what we just looked at, right? So I'm on board with that. Directional bias is short. It's in a sell zone as far as I can tell. And the big boss is telling me exactly the same thing. So I'm on board with that. Can I trade that? Well, there's absolutely no reason why you can't. Entry would have to go a few pips below the low, and you'd need to get your stop loss above this high, I believe, by a few pips as well. But I think, once again, that's a reasonable position to take based on what we've just seen. So that's Pound Aussie. I think you could trade that, barring gaps in the market tomorrow. Pound CAD, exactly the same thing in terms of a bar that's a clear reversal bar. Has shot underneath. That's interesting, actually. I haven't really looked at this one before. The interesting part about this is that it's clear of that resistance area, which is absolutely clear. Looks like a false break of that resistance to me. So that bar there makes perfect sense to me as well. If I also go that way, you can see that we've had a break below and a retest. Also, the monthly pivot's in play there as well. I think that's a good one. That makes perfect sense to me. Pound CAD weekly. Did the big boss tell us? I can't remember. Did we have a look at the big boss? Yes, we did. So I'm in full agreement. with this direction as well. The interesting part about this also is that it's broken above this horizontal level, which is absolutely clear. Then it's come back, and the retests with that bar there, is that enough? Good question. There's a few things with game changer bars that I like to see, and one of them is if you're looking to go short, then you need to come off the back of a rally. That's the one thing that I don't have here. Daily chart, that's giving it to me. But that opportunity went on Friday. You see the game changer bar? You see we've had a rally. Worked perfectly. Difference? Where's the rally on the weekly chart? It's not there. It doesn't exist. So that's the one thing that would stop me from entering here. Would have loved to see a rally. So some green bars, then that reversal bar, then I can trade it short. Just to get that firmly in your mind, there's the rally after the break of the level. You got the rally, you got the respect of that level from this reversal bar or game changer bar, and that was the one to trade. So you may have missed that entry on pound versus the CAD. Kiwi versus the Swissy on the weekly chart is a very, very weak signal. It is a game changer bar, however. Well, has it closed near its high? Well, it's nearer its high than its low, obviously, but that's a classic spinning top candle that I really don't have any faith in at all. We are at a buy zone. I get that bit, but it's one that I would just dismiss straight away. I don't think it's good value because it's out of context. Kiwi yen, it's the last one, I think it is. Kiwi versus the yen. Now, on the weekly chart, this one's a little bit more confusing, or maybe not to you now that you know the description. Lower than the previous, closed on or near its high is the criteria. Near its high is okay. Do I want to trade it long? What's the big boss saying? Big boss is saying, hang on, I'll have to bring that chart up as well. What is it? Kiwi yen. Actually, I'm in this long, aren't I? Already. Oh, sorry, I'm in this short Kiwi yen. And it pulled back on me on Friday, I think it was. Like the Three Amigos, like the fact that we've broken short, but it's gone back a little bit further than I anticipated. The game changer bar is suggesting that we buy here. Can I trust that directional bias? Am I in agreement with that directional bias is the main thing. What's the big what is the big boss here? I actually don't see a big boss. I think we're in a mess. I don't see a massive double top. I don't see a massive double bottom. I don't see a massive inverted head and shoulders or otherwise. Are we in a downtrend or are we in an uptrend? Don't know. So I would dismiss that straight away because I don't have something that's governing what I need to trade. And you can see we're in consolidation as well. So it's an absolute no from me on this one. And of course, I have a bias because I'm in the trade short. It's not got anything to do with this analysis. This analysis is very much a case of I see what's going on, and what's going on here is absolutely clear. We're in a range. We've come off the top of it, and I'm expecting to go to the bottom, and that's one of the reasons I'm in short. Week before last, we had a game changer bar to the downside. Now we've got one to the upside. Let's see how that pans out. But really, I don't have an opinion on it at this moment. They were the game changer bars. Now I've got a watch list. I've told you two of them. One of them is Aussie dollar. The other one is pound dollar. Pound dollar for the week is suggesting not a lot, frankly, except if you have a look at this chart, there's a whole mess on it. Sorry. Let me get rid of all this. There we go. So if you look at this chart, in particular, if you went to a line chart, I think it would be probably clearer. Line chart, there we go. You can probably see that inverted head and shoulders sitting here. You can also probably see that we're in a weak uptrend or an uptrend. Let's call it an uptrend. Higher highs and lows. Yet we've dipped down below that previous low, which is interesting because it's counter to the current trend, if you like. If I have a look at that on the daily chart, I can see pretty much the reverse, with the head and shoulders have now come back to retest the breakout level, which is the neckline, if you like, on a strong resistance level. That is the monthly pivot. So let's go back to candles and get rid of that. Get rid of that. And so the weekly is telling me that we've rejected this level here, right? The daily is telling me something quite the reverse of that. Let me point out what I'm seeing on the daily. I'm seeing this level here, the support trade line, broken. We've had a consolidation below it, so the market's had time to think about this. Then we've had price burst through the support trade line, so it didn't offer any resistance at all, and then prices come back immediately below that. It's something that I like to see. It's at a terrible, terrible level, but I'm completely in agreement with the current trend. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Now, I'm not a trend trader by any stretch of the imagination, but this here is a clear indication to me that if price were to go back to this level, it's going to test these highs. Now, I'm not predicting that's going to happen, but what I am saying is if it does, or sorry, if it doesn't sell off as a result of this bar, then the likelihood of it buying up is high. So if tomorrow there's no gap in the market, I would certainly look to buy here, get some profit in the bank here, but look for a continuation of this trend. And the reward, or the potential reward, could be substantial up to this level here, around about the 132 mark. We're at 124 at the moment, right? So I think that's an excellent reward to risk potential trade to take tomorrow. So it's pound versus the dollar. It's a buy above that bar there, and it's a sell below that bar there. That's exactly what I'll be doing tomorrow if there's no massive gap in the market. So that was Aussie dollar, pound dollar, which I showed you Aussie before. There's another one that I'm looking for tomorrow, and it's gold. Gold, gold, gold. How long have I been talking about this? If you haven't seen it, there's a massive double top on gold on the weekly chart. There's also a massive triple top on gold on the monthly chart. Now, if I saw that on any other chart except gold, I would think, my goodness me, here's a massive opportunity to trade down to here. Why any other chart but gold? Because gold has this incredible fundamental trait at the moment, if you like, that everyone wants to buy it, yet they don't seem to want to buy it above the 2000 mark at the moment. So it's a really, really tough one for me. I have to erase everything I think of and research at the moment about gold, because everyone wants to buy it, as I said. And we're in a situation, fundamentally, where the world is thinking, oh my God, we're going to hell in the handbasket. There's wars on the way, and we're having all sorts of issues with debt ceiling. The US are printing more money. They don't care how much money they owe. We've got the South China Sea incidents going on with China flexing their muscle. There's all sorts of things that aren't conducive to gold sell-off. Yet here we are. And when I look at the weekly chart, I see sell, 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 and I see an attempt to buy to get back above this, 1983 this year, let's call it 2000 level, completely rejected. And then I look at the daily chart, and Friday is, yep, you guessed it, a game changer bar to the downside. Have I got the kahunas to go against my fundamental reckoning, if you like, and trade this short? Well, the answer is, if I'm a technical trader, then absolutely I have to. Don't have a choice. So two things going against this, apart from what I said fundamentally. We've got an untested monthly pivot above us, and we've got a very poor reward to risk to where I would have to take profit. So my decision is $36, call it $37, call it $38 into $7. Doesn't make any sense to me. Does make no sense. But like I said before, with game changer bars, they're not necessarily telling you to trade. They're telling you the direction that is possible for the next week. So here's my thesis. Like the game changer bar, hate the reward to risk. So let's look at it on a smaller time frame maybe, and seek a pullback to something that makes sense. Actually, we won't go to a smaller time frame. We'll stick to the daily. What makes sense on this chart to me is probably that level there. Why? Because it's been strong support in the past. We've come back underneath it. We've rejected it. That's adding, more weight to the argument that this is still going to go short. Where's the next level? Or is there a next level? It's not far away, if I'm honest. So tomorrow, if I were to see price pull back to here, say that 1957 handle that I've got on my chart here, then I would be happy. So close on that level would be good. Then I'd be happy to place the order underneath that bar with my stop loss here versus my stop loss here. That's what makes sense to me. So I can take profit here and get, almost a one-to-one, depending on where tomorrow's bar lands. And if it goes, then it goes, and I miss the trade. Simple as that. But that's what I'll be looking for tomorrow. A little pullback to this 1957 level, and then I can look to trade underneath here, or underneath tomorrow's bar, and stop loss above it. That would make sense to me. Righto, very, very quickly, because I've got to get out of here into another meeting, or somebody's waiting to get into another meeting. I wanted to show you the potential for these game changer bars to appear and where you should be taking notice of them. I've used here a downtrend or a down momentum, if you like, but this momentum thing or indicator to me is off the big boss. It's off the main theme, if you like, not necessarily the trend, but most often the trend. Let's call it the trend because it's going to make it far easier to understand. So if the trend is short, if the trend is long, as depicted by the arrow, and you've got a pullback, right, so a retracement off the main trend. So red bars, trend is long, and you get a rejection bar or a game changer bar, otherwise known as key reversal bar. Then you're looking to trade it off that bar in that direction. The bar could look like that, or the candle could look like that. It could look like that. It could look like that, or it could look like that. The main thing to know is the low is lower than the previous. In this case, it's a weekly chart. Could be a daily. I wouldn't trust it on smaller time frames. Then you buy there, stop loss there, buy there, stop loss there, buy there, stop loss there, buy there, stop loss there. The main thing is the dominant chart pattern, the dominant trend, the dominant momentum has to be going in the direction that you're trading. That's the main thing. Off a retracement. That's also important. So if you're going in this direction, you have to have had a retracement. If you're going in this direction, you have to have had a retracement, blah, 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 blah. And it's exactly the same in the opposite direction. If your momentum is to the downside, or your trend is to the downside, or the big boss, as I call it, is telling you to go short, wait for a rally, sell it. Wait for a rally, sell it. Wait for a rally, sell it. It's the game changer bar. I hope that has cleared up a few, and I know there are a few people that have asked me to give that a clearer depiction than I have previously. So I hope that has helped. Okay, that's us, guys. I hope you have a great week ahead, and I hope I've given you some insight into how I look at the week ahead, and hopefully given you some ideas and some money in the bank if you follow those. And remember, there has to be no big gaps in the market before you adopt those principles or those potential trades that I've given you. Cheers, Daryl. Cheers, Catherine. Cheers, Paul P. Have a great week ahead, and we look forward to catching up throughout that week. Pound dollar. Excellent. All good, Catherine. Let's go for it. Have a great week, guys. Bye-bye for now.